All right, this is Bad Weather Fans, episode 301. We're trying this new on Riverside. We're doing it live. So, with
It's
that,
live.
it
It's
is live,
live
Alex. It's
on
working.
Twitter.
I don't think there is the okay. So with that, here we go. Do you hear that?
I do. Oh, we cut our music off. What happened?
Yeah, well, fancy. Let's see if it can work.
Oh, and you
Did I screw up?
barely hear it. I'm saying on the on Twitter, we didn't put in anything. We just used the generic. We're using a new site called Riverside and not
Yeah.
StreamYard. So we're kind of figuring this thing out on the fly. And usually I write in my post on live, Knicks talk this that and have to get in the search optimization, but we kind of just hit the generic one, so it just says welcome to our live show, which is all good. But that's what's happening right now.
Yeah. Well, I was just trying. All right, let's figure that
Trying
out.
different things.
All right, everyone can see or hear the media play. Oh, I only had that in preview. I don't think anybody could have heard it. My fault. But I actually don't mind just doing this live and learning.
Hey, listen, it's a great show so far. We're learning a lot.
So much. I'm learning right now that the Sixers are 102.89 the Celtics. So that looks like it's even up their series. But this is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 301. Mike Seglia, Alex Benesowitz, and we will be reacting mainly to the Knicks game last night versus the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
And we'll also do a little bit on Jordi Fernandez at the end, getting his contract extension with the Nets. But Alex, wild game at MSG. It was sweet. It was enjoyable.
For you?
We've done a few of these now where we've had some games where we've just seen some crazy shit at the Garden. Last year, the Indiana Pacer game won. I don't think this was as crazy as that, obviously, and the stakes not nearly as high.
No.
But, man, Knicks blow it, and 1-1 series heading back to Atlanta for Game 3. So exciting stuff if you hate the Knicks.
Exciting for you, yes, as a Nick hater. The coalition, I'm sure, was very excited last night. The coalition of Nick haters that you're a part of. I'm sure that was very, very fun group chat for you last night. It was not fun for us as Knick fans. Where do I even start? I mean, the Knicks had every opportunity in this game to just stomp the Hawks down, stomp the Hawks out, and just put them away in the second, put them away in the third, and they just never went over the top. For whatever reason, Mike Brown went to lineups without Brunson or Towns for extended periods, trying to rely on his bench. And the Knicks bench is way better than the Hawks bench, but it was clear that the Knicks bench guys weren't having it. Clarkson did okay, but Deuce was nothing. Shamet was nothing. Like, you had to get some kind of points. I mean, Alvarado gave them energy, but he didn't. I don't think he scored. He kept missing layups and shots, and he like lit a spark, but like he does.
CJ.
But yeah, he just needs to score. Yeah, and
CJ.
And CJ just is like, I don't know, like, what's going on with him? Like, why all of a sudden he's CJ McJordan? But he's been awesome, and he's saved Jalen Johnson from being the story of the series of being like a choker, and like the moment's too big for him right now. I know he's young, but right now it's definitely too big for him. He definitely got intimidated by the crowd, and maybe they needed to practice with a little more crowd noise for Jalen Johnson, and maybe give him some more organs in practice. But I do think that the Knicks will be fine. I do think they'll likely win the next three. I think Game 3 is obviously huge. If they lose Game 3, you'll see a different Alex. But as for now, I'm still the calm, cool, collected Alex. I mean, Game 2 sucked, and they blew it, and they missed 10 free throws, I believe.
Yeah.
And they blew the game. And even with that, the Hawks, CJ McCollum was getting all this praise, but he missed those 2 free throws at the end of the game that would have put them up 3. And honestly, it might have helped the Knicks if he made the second one. You know what I mean? They would have time to inbound it and toss it into Jalen and see what we can do instead of just getting this mishmash of crap.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
I know I'm rambling, but there's a lot to unpack there with Game 2. And I was on Sirius with David Shepard last night, XM NBA Radio, and that was fun on the post-game show. It's available there if you want to hear it. It was kind of my therapy session, So, but for you, Mike, watching it as an outsider, did you get super confused by Noah Eagle saying there was a timeout when there was not a timeout?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, like everybody else, that there was a timeout left. I'm a human being, and I saw it on the screen. That's what I thought. I'm not wasn't
Right.
keeping exact track of everything. So
You weren't
yeah, I
keeping
got
score of
confused.
the game, like a
I mean, I
baseball
was keeping an eye
score.
on the score. That I definitely was keeping an eye on that part of it.
I just love that people are like, "You don't know basketball, Alex. You weren't paying attention to how many timeouts." And like, bro,
Nah,
like
people
it's an
made that
emotional
mistake.
moment. Somebody said there's a timeout. I think there's a timeout. Like, all right,
Yeah,
like like
yeah.
90% of the audience. All right, but anyway, go ahead,
No,
Mike.
yeah, I don't. I wouldn't put that on you. I think a lot of people were
Yeah,
confused by that. I woke up in the morning and I was like, "Wait, did they? Did they not?" And
yeah.
I stayed up late. And I watched all of the coaches and players post
These
games.
those people.
Um,
Yeah,
um, I was just I couldn't get enough of it. When the Knicks lose, it's just so enjoyable. I mean, it really is. I don't
no,
know
it's
how
not.
else to describe it, but it's just great.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
I just love it. I mean, I would be lying if I didn't. I definitely let out like a yell without yelling. I was watching in the bed on my phone, and I just I just was like quietly.
Like one of those, like Adam
Um,
Sandler and Big Daddy when he get the penalty shot and he can't wake up the kid and does one of those.
yeah, I didn't want to do that. But yeah, just enjoyed it.
Yeah,
It's CJ McCollum. I'd be lying to you if I said I've been tracking his career since Portland. Obviously, I know when he was there, he was just a great player. Just a really good basketball player. He
yeah,
wasn't Damian Lillard, but he was the number two there. And I don't know from his perspective if and he's had a very good stint here with Atlanta. It's like he was part of this Trae Young trade. And he's been dynamic for them here in the
he has
playoffs.
been.
And he clearly is showing that he has a lot left, and he's playing well. Now, I think for the Hawks, if they're going to go on and win this series, they're going to need to get the support from other guys, um, like Johnson, like Alexander Walker. Like they're going to have to step up. They're going to
For
have to play
sure.
better, and we'll see what happens when you go into Atlanta. That stuff typically does happen. I'll push back a little bit when you're talking about the bench. Kuminga was huge for the
Yeah,
Hawks.
he
I mean,
was.
he was the guy that really helped spark that fourth quarter and brought it from that 12 points and got it closer and closer in the game. He was clearly the best bench player for either team yesterday. And I know Mitch Robinson had a very good end of first quarter, second quarter, but the impact that Kuminga had on the game when it mattered the most was clearly the biggest. And you take Mitch Robinson away, the bench did nothing. I mean, the bench for the Knicks was horrible.
True.
Clarkson had 7. And after that, it was goose eggs, man. It was nothing. All the guards couldn't do anything. And yeah, it's a problem if Coach Brown's not going to split the minutes with either Brunson or Towns on the court when a guy's out. I think that's a mistake, and I think he'll adjust to it. I think you would be. I'd be surprised if you saw that moving forward in Game 3 on. I think he heard the critics, and I think he saw what happened. So I don't think that's going to happen. And the last thing to talk about, really, I think more than anything is Jalen Brunson's defense. I mean, he got crushed.
Yeah.
I've been playing rec league basketball, and I got to tell you, I'm Jalen Brunson out there. Like, find me. You can either blow by me or be physical with me.
You're gonna get a hand up, though. You're gonna go get the hand up, and that's about.
I mean, he just can't guard anybody. He just can't, and they just exposed him.
But is your jumper as good as Jalen's, or is it not?
I mean, he's better than me. I mean, he's one of the best basketball players in the NBA. I'm not saying
it's debatable. Yeah.
I mean, offensively, he's as smooth as it gets. Defensively, he's not, and they took advantage of it. And if it's a lot of what we saw game two last night is a reminder of the Knicks that people get frustrated with when Jalen Brunson does not trust his teammates, and in fourth quarter situations is going to take the ball, take his shot, and go with it. When he trusts his teammates, they're usually in a better position. But I don't know why he doesn't trust them sometimes, but I think it's fair to say he doesn't. Now, if it's because that's just the kind of player he is, if it's because the first couple of years there he didn't have the talent that he does now, but I think it's pretty safe to say that there's points in games where sometimes he doesn't get let the offense start to flow, and it hurts the Knicks. And when they aren't hitting shots and they're stagnant, they blow big leads, and now they're tied 1-1.
And we have breaking news, actually, Mike. Speaking of tied 1-1, the 76ers have beaten the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, 111-97.
And look at that. Look at that, man. The East is getting some good first round series. Everybody thought it was going to somebody's going to get picked off, one of these top 4 teams. I don't think it's going to be the Knicks, but it's never chalk. It's never chalk. Put it that way.
Not going to be the Cavs.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the Raptors haven't shown up.
The Raptors aren't I mean,
Quickly's been banged up, but like it's just they're
not good
Ingram's
enough.
a loser. Brandon Ingram's a loser. But yeah, go ahead.
I personally, they have a much better home court, so I think they'll play better.
Right,
but
of course.
I've been beating on the Cavs drum that I think they're one of the top teams in the East, and I also take some validity that the Hawks were 20-6 down the stretch. I mean, it's pretty good.
But who'd they beat, man?
Let's look.
I mean, they beat the Wizards, they beat the Nets, they beat a bunch of terrible teams. They picked off the Celtics. They got a couple of good wins in there. But like, if you look at that long winning streak that got them to this record, the 8 games in a row, it was like it beat nobody. They literally beat the Wizards, I think, 3 times.
Let's take a look.
Go ahead, look at it. You'll see what I'm saying. You'll just be like, Alex, you're right, as usual. And, you actually know more than me about basketball.
The problem there is you can say the same thing for the Knicks. It's why
the silly part of the NBA season. That's what I'm saying. That's why you couldn't crown the Hawks. That's my point.
It's not just the silly part of the NBA. But you have to look at the switch that was flipped with the Hawks. They were a bad basketball team, and then they became a really good basketball team.
Okay.
And that is a huge difference for me.
But the Knicks also had their opportunities to really put them away in game 2. And game 1 also, it could have been a blowout. It's just CJ McCollum is playing out of his mind. I'd argue that the Hawks as a whole are not playing good basketball. And if it wasn't for CJ McCollum playing like above his level that he is right now at 34, 35 years old, the Hawks would be down 0-2. Easy.
True. But that's playoff basketball, man.
And he's part of the team, and I get it. But,
you can't do that. It's like,
But I'm just saying, like,
you tell me the statement all the time. If my uncle was this and my sister,
my aunt had it should be my uncle.
Right.
Yeah,
so,
I get
but
it
didn't happen. I mean, this is playoff basketball.
Can't say that anymore, though. I'm sorry.
This is what happens. This is what happens.
Yeah.
Right.
It is.
This is what happens. Guys get hot, but I don't think it's sustainable for the next series or for the continuing in the series. I did on a lot of group chats have the Hawks in 6. I don't know if I was trying to will it into existence, and I've always been on this podcast and given my fair assessment of things. I thought before the series started that the Hawks were a lot better. I know after game 1, you had your laundry session, and you were saying like, this series is over. They're not getting a game, and I was like, I don't know if that's true, and you were wrong.
I said 4 or 5 from the beginning, so I mean I'm still on track for 5.
Right, they're gonna have to win. I think there's something about when you win in the Garden, it changes your perspective of 4 and 5. And also, when you say 4 and 5 before the season starts, it's like, or before the playoff starts, you're looking at it from a world view. Like, they're gonna get a game, but when you're in it and you lose it, and you had a 12-point fourth quarter lead, and now it's 1-1, and you're going to Atlanta, your mind's just not like. Well, I mean, you are apparently, but it's a little different than like, that's the game. It's like, okay, all right, well, we got to be careful here Thursday.
But it's when you lose the game. You know what I mean? Like, if you lose game 4 when you're up 3-0 and it's 5 and it's gentleman's sweep, it's like, whatever. But you lose that game 2, then that's a problem. And because of what people were saying with the hot takes and things like that, I actually did a little research, Mike. People were saying this is the first time for everything. Yes, if I can find, So a lot of people were saying that the Knicks showed that they can't win a championship by the way they lost game 2, which is just an absurd take. It's just that's the worst of them in the fourth quarter. I think they got a little lazy. They took the Hawks a little lightly in the third. Like they came out of the gate out of halftime. They had a great game plan, and they just took it to the Hawks. But I think after that, they kind of took their foot off the gas, and then the Hawks just crept. Props to them. I'm not gonna just keep pouring cold water on it. Like, props to them. They stepped up, and the door was cracked open, and they kicked the door open. You know what I mean? Like, that was props to them, and they still almost blew it at the end, but the Mikal Bridges for some reason, stutter steps the 3, even though you didn't need a 3, and then takes a fadeaway in the corner. I would have liked to see the 3, even if you don't need it. And that's probably what just went through his mind in that moment, but
he had 2 seconds to go to the basket. He didn't want anything to do with it.
No, he never.
He went to where he
did shoot free throws in this game, which is it's incredible. Like, he did shoot some free throws, which was amazing.
Early on, he was attacking a little bit, and then he had that. There was a really nice, and I'll let you finish your point. But there was Mitch Robinson had an offensive rebound and then threw it to Mikal, who drove baseline and had like a reverse but missed it, if you remember.
Yes. And then that wasn't the play I was thinking of when he got fouled.
The play before, I think he got fouled, or maybe the play after.
I was like, all right. But Mikel, and he had two. There was another possession before we get to my point about what I was talking about losing in the beginning of a series.
Yeah.
Mikel has a wide open three, misses it. Mitchell Robinson gets the rebound, and somebody kicks it out. They swing it back to Mikel. His same exact spot. Misses the open three. It's just like, come on, dude, make the fucking shot.
DiVincenzo doesn't miss that.
Oh yeah, of course. I think Isola said that. Isola.
Did he really?
Somebody said that on Twitter.
I said it. No, I didn't hear that.
You know, somebody. But it is. I mean, it's true. But the Knicks didn't want to trade Isola. Of course, they wanted to trade Isola. They didn't want to trade DiVincenzo. But
I think
I think he did get traded. Actually, Isola got traded from the Knicks to the Nets. But anyway,
that's true.
So my point, Knicks showed last night they can't win a championship was the general take. So I did some research and a couple examples of teams that went on to win championships that had trouble in the first round. Trouble is not I'll say it lightly, but some of these examples are legit trouble. So the 2008 Celtics, the Big Three Celtics, coincidentally played the Hawks, and Joe Johnson went off and took them to 7. And you remember Boston fans are like, oh shit. Like, you know what I mean? We got this big 3 and we're not going to get out of the first round. They were like sort of on eggshells in that game 7 and game 6. Like, oh no, but they survived. And then because they survived, it made them better. And they just won the chip. Another example in 2014, the Spurs barely beat the Mavericks in 7 games in the first round and they won the championship. 2024, the champion Celtics, who went on to win the championship, the Celtics, lost game 2 at the home to the Heat in the first round and then went on to win the championship. Same exact situation as right now. 2019, Toronto Raptors lost game 1 of the first round series versus the Magic. Can you imagine the Knicks losing game 1 to the Hawks? And then they went on to win the next 4 and then went on to win the championship. Got the lucky shot from Kawhi. Well, not lucky, but got the bounce. And then they went on. 2010, go back a little further. The Baby Thunder with Durant and Westbrook and Harden taking it to the champion Lakers. Kobe, and everybody remembers this series. Lakers go up 2-0. Then Durant and they go back to OKC, and Durant and Westbrook and Harden just gave it to the Lakers and won those 2 games. And they go back to LA, and the Lakers didn't lose again. You know what I mean? So like Kobe and them just said, okay, kids, you're not ready for this. But and then they went on to win a championship. That was in 2010. So there are a lot of examples. That was just on a quick research while I was on the elliptical today at the gym, just like trying to find some, killing time with boring working out, trying to lose some weight for the summer. Summer's coming. And I found these things, and there's a lot of examples like that where there were scares early, and just because the Knicks lost game 2 does not mean that they're not going to win the championship. I do think that, they should have won this series in 4, and I think that they can still win it in 5. I think they will win it in 5, and if they win it in 6, that would suck. That I wasn't right about my prediction, but they still won the fucking series and they move on to the next round, and you go on from there. And maybe they're playing the Sixers and not the Celtics. I mean, we'll see.
I personally don't care. I just want them to lose 4 games, and yesterday was the step in the right direction. Like,
I get you.
Ultimately, they're now 3 losses away from their season ending. Like, that is a fact.
Yeah.
If they lose 3 more times in this series, their season's over. And it was 4 before yesterday, and now it's 3. And if they go in on Thursday and lose, it's 2. That's what I care about. I don't. I think there's too much of getting trapped in the vacuum of it's this moment, this game. This is leading to other things. What's going to happen later? I don't know. Like the Celtics last year lost to the Magic in game 2, and then went on to beat them in 5. Then they lost to the Knicks, right? I mean, each series is its own identity. I wouldn't take too much from one to the next.
Right.
I just know for me, just watching these games, the Knicks have the capability to lose. I feel more confident about that than I did in years past. I don't know why. I don't know why. They had more wins than they ever did.
Tough
The
game.
Eastern Conference is not as good as it's been, but there is something about this team that I'm like, I am more confident they will lose when it matters than I have ever felt before. And I do not know why that is. I'm just like, I just look at what the Hawks did in the fourth quarter, and if they can replicate that aggressiveness, their defensive intensity, I mean, like getting into the passing lane, stealing the ball, fast breaks for dunk, pushing it down the court, and we haven't seen their best yet from guys outside of CJ McCollum, really. So what happens if we get that best version in Atlanta, where they'll now have the home court back?
But I can argue that you haven't seen the best of Deuce McBride or Landry Shamet, who are gonna have a big game here or there. One of those guys.
But I'm talking about the Hawks' best players. I'm not talking about the fringe guys.
I know, but
I'm
these
talking
guys are
about the guys
key
that
parts
matter
of the
the
Knicks.
most. They've won a game without those guys playing at their best. Yeah, you're right. We haven't seen the Knicks bench be as good.
And the Knicks bench is way more talented than the Hawks bench. The Hawks have nothing on their bench.
Kuminga's
good. He's the one guy. But yeah, other than that,
he had a huge stretch.
Yeah.
He had a huge stretch.
Yeah.
I can't. They got to lose 4.
Yeah.
Yesterday was the step in the right direction. It's one game. Sure. They got to do it 3 more times, but at least it's the step to getting there. And maybe it will be. We see that this is a problem for them in the next round versus Boston. Maybe we see that this is a problem in the round after that versus the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know. Maybe these are signs here for something that's later, that this team is not good enough. I don't know. I wish I could just sit here and give this hard opinion. This means they can't win. This means they can't. I really don't have an answer.
Because you're smart, basketball wise.
I just know that they're one step closer today than they were yesterday.
But do you think the Hawks can win 3 of 5 against the Knicks?
I'll know. I do.
You do? You really not like Mike as the Knicks hater and hoping it, and, wishing it into existence kind of a thing. You really think the Hawks can win 3 of 5? 5.
Well, they got to win. They got to win 3 games. What I see
3 of 5? Like you really think that?
What we see on Thursday will determine to me what's really going on here, because this is where the mental toughness of the Knicks has to show. You had a bad game, and they have, to their credit, in the past, the Knicks. They showed up last year when they lost to the Pistons in Game 2. They won Game 3 and 4 in Detroit. We're getting in a public chat here. You see,
I don't know how to get this guy B-Baller Show. He's like, I'm out, no answers. He said, I don't know how to put the comments on live.
I don't know if you can. It might just be different.
We're on a news site, as you guys know, from StreamYard to Riverside, as we said earlier in the show. So sorry, the B-Baller Show. He said, why is no one here? Knicks relaxed too much.
That might be through YouTube also.
And then he goes, y'all live on Long Island. Well, I do, but Mike does not. Mike's in Dirty Jersey.
Yeah, I don't know.
So sorry, B-Baller Show. I don't know where everybody else is in the chat because we don't know how to use the chat right now.
The Mets are going to lose again.
It's amazing. Honestly, selfishly, if the Mets are going to be not going to, make a run this year, I'd rather them just be out from the beginning of the season, because I have a newborn. She's 9 weeks old. 9 years old. 9 years already. 9 weeks old. My baby Brooke, and it's going to be a interesting summer with my toddler who's going to be 3 in June, Shy, and it'll be nice to not be pressured to watch baseball in the summer and worry about games. And, I'll still follow the Mets no matter what they are and still watch some games here or there. But it won't be appointment television if they just bottom out and they're one of the worst in baseball and they strip it down for parts. I'll be like, all right, whatever. Let's still go to a game, take some pictures, have some fun. But, I'm not going to, worry about it and then just save, that sports credit for, football season, So it is what
I was looking forward to having a better Mets season. I mean, going through the Nets year, which they were trying to lose.
Yeah.
The Giants were awful with some moments of great potential, I guess, with Dart. But I mean, not really. I mean, it was for the most part another awful season. So, I mean, from my end, being like, it would be nice to watch a sports team that's good and winning. I mean, I haven't watched winning in forever.
I know. You want to feel feelings.
I mean, Nets have been just what they've been.
What's your thoughts, now that we talk about that, what's your thoughts on the Nets extending Jordi Fernandez and the rest of the coaching staff after having a tanking season? And, what are your full thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you can't look at his record and be like, oh, he sucks. I mean, that's obviously not fair. And if you did that, it doesn't make any sense. They were trying to lose. But I think he clearly has the chops to be a good head coach from what we've seen. So I don't mind him staying. I think if you were to be gone, like when you and a couple other people sent me the notification from Shams Charania with the breaking news, my first thought was he's got fired or he quit, and I was just
dead.
Like, oh
yeah,
God.
no, something like that.
No, I did not.
That
think
graphic with breaking news and Jordi Fernandez, you're like, oh my God, they fired the coach. It's really
like,
that's what you
now
think.
what?
Yeah,
Like, what's happening? Jacques Vaughn's back again. Like, what's going on here?
Steve Nash, welcome home. Yeah, no,
Welcome home video. Yeah, but it was an extension. So
yeah,
man, that's it's encouraging. I think he's the right guy to have. I think he has the potential to be a good coach. The other problem is you haven't seen him in any significant games. Like, you don't really know. Like, look at what happened with Mike Brown and his rotations last night and playing Towns or not playing Towns and Brunson on at least one of them on the court. There's been nothing like that for the Nets. There's been no moments to even criticize them because how do you? It's like they won. The coach is too good. He helped them win, or they're losing and they're not putting anybody on the court. Like these games at the end of the season, you don't know.
The coach is too good. Imagine having that feeling
That's what
as a fan.
Were. Like Jordy's going to cost us 3 to 5 games.
He's too good.
That's fans' problems right now.
It's just such a mind fuck, and I hate that as fans, man. I'm dealing with that with the Jets for years, and I've dealt with it for the Knicks many times. It's just like the rationalization of just like it's better to lose than to win, which is true, but at the same time, it fucking sucks. And it really does. So I don't know.
They're going to have to the next season for the Brooklyn Nets will be one where if I'm Jordi Fernandez, he's got to be really excited for next season because he is going to be allowed to try to win. I know this sounds kind of silly to say out loud, but when he's had a mandate to lose and he's playing guys that aren't going to be part of the organization for the future, especially in the last couple of weeks where it was full tank.
Yeah,
he's got to just be excited. And you could tell at the end of he did the press conference, he was exhausted. He was just exhausted because he was like, I have to sit here and lose. Not exhausted like, oh, the season took a toll on me, but exhausted of losing. Just like, I can't fucking lose all the time. It's enough already. It's just like, I can't take it anymore. So I think he's going to be excited that he's going to be allowed to try to win. And they're going to build a roster for next year that's going to be more competitive. Now, I don't know how to predict how many wins the team will get next season because so many factors need to happen. So many variables are going to happen. But I will tell you this. They're going to try to build a roster that is competitive for winning because they don't have their pick. They're swapped with Houston. So at least they got that going for them from they're going to try perspective. And then, of course, everything kind of trickles down to what happens on Sunday, May 10th. And apparently you have to be part of the organization, you were saying. I think that was from you.
You can't be a fan and be on the dais at the NBA
so
Draft
silly.
Lottery. Last episode, Bad Weather Fans Mike wanted to be on
I emailed
the dais,
Josiah.
And he emailed Josiah.
I found 2 of his emails. And like you email somebody and then maybe a day later it bounces back if it's not the right email.
Yeah.
They went through. Right. They are his emails.
There's emails. I mean, I'm sure he's not checking them. Maybe he has an assistant. But at the same time, Mr. Whammy, who is way more popular than you, Mike, I apologize,
and more deserving,
deserving. He's at every game. He's 100 years old, like literally, and he should be on the dais. He should be on the dais.
He's 90, but yeah.
I mean, come on, it's close enough. And honestly, I think he should be, and the NBA rule is that you have to work for the organization, so the Nets should just hire him on like a 1-day contract, or just hire him and be the fan ambassader, pay him like a couple bucks, or just comp his tickets, and
Mr. Whammy. Yeah, what does he do? He's at a strength and conditioning in the G League.
Strength and conditioning.
Like that guy.
I mean, he basically works for the team already. I mean, he's a cheerleader. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like he's the Nets cheerleader. I mean, I love guys like that who are just into the game and just lives and breathes the games no matter what in his team. And I love that. I used to be Spike Lee until he got a little too full of himself. But
I don't think Mr. Whammy's. I think Mr. Whammy's Mr. Whammy. I think we're okay. I don't.
No, you're good. I think at this point, you've reached a point.
Yeah,
where
Mr. Whammy's just like, man, it was sad because Mr. Whammy's wife passed a couple of years ago. He used to go to the games with her,
right?
And now he's
by himself, still
alone,
going.
and
It's his family, you know. It feels
no,
good.
he loves
He
it.
knows everybody
Great.
there. I'm sure he knows the security guards.
Oh,
Probably
of
knows
course.
And but I had a funny joke that I couldn't get it out in time because he moved on to his wife. But it was like Mr. Whammy's gonna now become Spike Lee and like do a movie, like do the whammy
right.
thing and like get out there.
Yeah.
But now it's not as funny. So because you brought the chat down from to the death of his wife.
Sorry.
So
Get rid of the Mister and just be called Whammy.
just Whammy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he gets to see a championship in his life.
Do you think he's dating anyone, Mr. Whammy?
Mr. Whammy, one of the cheerleaders. He moved on quick.
I'm sure he loved his wife. Rest in peace.
No, I know.
We're just joking around. You know.
Well, this was cool. I went to the dentist today, and I had my Nets sweatshirt on, and the dental hygienist is like, "Are you a Nets fan?" I'm
No,
like,
I just like the shirt.
I'm like,
Yeah.
here we go, some Nick game talk.
Right.
And she's like, "Oh, my families were diehard Nets fans. My son is 18, was part of the dance, like he was one of the dancers on the court, and he's a diehard Nets fan, and he just loves it. He's like, and he's at Seton Hall now, and he's a huge Net fan." And I was like, "That was great."
Yeah, send to my podcast.
I told him to listen. So shout out to Jacob if he's listening tonight.
Shout out to Jacob. Good for you.
That's cool. You don't honestly, Alex, especially right now because the Knicks have taken over times 100.
Yeah. I get it.
It's hard. It's hard, but it also makes you proud to be a Nets fan because you're not part of this poser mainstream bullshit in New York.
I mean,
it's kind of cool.
You had it for a couple of years with Durant and everybody was there. You had the poser.
There was a little. I mean, it's totally,
it's all Nets
totally
fans
gone now. But it's man, I was so addicted to the losing last night. I even had to hear, I listened to Alan Hahn. I listened to Wally Zerbiak. I had to listen to all of them cry. There's something about guys. They just come to the Garden and they become the villain. And it's like,
I mean, just come on.
Well, maybe the Knicks just sucked in the fourth quarter. I don't know. Is that possible?
I hate the villain thing, man. Can we talk about that for a second? Like, we don't have to have like a crime villain. Like the Reggie Miller thing happened naturally because he was a dick and he was like grabbing his privates and putting the choke sign up to Spike Lee, who's sitting front row with his wife or whoever was with him.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then he's like, hitting the shots and beating them, and the Knicks gave it to him. Probably beat him more than they did beat Reggie Miller more than he beat the Knicks, but it was just a fun rivalry, and and it was like he was a real villain. Michael Jordan, real villain, beat the crap out of us every single time in the playoffs. The Knicks took him to 7, one of the only teams to take him to 7, and they went toe to toe to him with a lot and played him tough and weren't afraid of Michael Jordan and the pixie dust, but he beat our ass. Every time.
Beat everybody.
Every single time. Beat everybody. Yeah, for sure. Except the Orlando Magic. For some reason, that series doesn't count. I don't know why. But, it is it's what it is. And before he won a championship, he didn't win a lot then either. But I don't know. It only counts from when he won his championships and, in those years. But I don't want to get into that.
Are you a LeBron guy? What's happening here?
I'm not a LeBron.
What is this?
I'm a truth guy.
Michael Jordan. Just keep it moving. All right. Michael Jordan.
You want to debate that? You want to do Stephen A right now and just be like, Michael Jordan would never, anyway. What was my point?
The villain stuff.
The villain stuff. Yes, I think it's silly. I think we don't have to force it. I also saw like Sal Licata put out a video like blaming the fans for booing him, and that's what motivated CJ McCollum. Like, give me a break. Fans are not like picking out CJ McCollum to boo. They're booing him because he kicked Jalen Brunson in the nuts and is playing really well in these 2 games and beating them. So, of course, they're going to boo him. It didn't motivate him to boo him. It's the reason, they're booing him because he's kicking their ass and kicking Jalen Brunson in the nuts. That's it.
That was a little bit of a flop.
Oh, come on, bro. Come on.
You can't flop a nut kick.
You can't flop a nut kick. You can't flop a nut kick.
A little overreactive.
That's a Nets hater thing. That's a Nick hater thing. I mean, as a Nets
I think CJ loves it. I think it did fuel him a little. I think Sal.
Yeah.
I mean,
but what do you think about that? Blaming the fans for motivating the player?
You can't blame the fans.
It's insane.
You can't blame the fans, but maybe it did motivate. I do think it did motivate him, but
he was already motivated. I mean, he was already playing so well. Like, what else did he fucking need? And if anything, after they were booing him and cursing him out, he missed those 2 free throws in the last few seconds. They gave the Knicks a chance to win the game and steal it back.
So this is a true story.
So
when I was working at CBS Sports Radio, one of the shows after us, it was the Tiki and Tierney show. They had CJ McCollum on, and the producer booked him, and the producer would Mike Samter. He would get like a rundown. So it'd be like 9 o'clock this, 9:15 that, 9:30 guest.
Right. Yeah.
And when the guests would sometimes call into the show, like, hey, he's on the hotline, it would like call, the call number would come in, it would take their cell phone number. So one time I was walking by his desk and they had CJ McCollum on. So CJ McCollum's cell phone number was on this rundown. So I took my cell phone out, snagged CJ's cell. Wow. I was this close to texting him yesterday how fucking happy I was with him. It crossed my mind.
Saved his number.
For
producer reasons, he saved his number. Yeah.
Oh, I got his cell. If I was a little drunk, I think there'd be a chance of me like just drunk texting him. If he does anything more to win this series, he's getting a FaceTime. Like it legit crossed my mind, and then I was like, you can't do it.
No, you can't.
You can't do that.
You're gonna make him change his number. I mean,
I was
that's actually good for the Knicks.
I wasn't gonna
do that.
Tell him, thank you.
Start stalking him and pissing him off and getting him off his game.
Cat. True story, Alex. And you never know why you'll need cell phones, especially in sports and maybe guest booking, especially at that time.
Cell phone numbers, yeah.
It crossed my mind yesterday to do it.
The mental Rolodex. You had the mental Rolodex.
I was like, he's in there. I remember it. True story. I thought I get that. So I was like, we'll see what happens in the next couple of games.
Another question: do you think Tiki Barber remembers interviewing CJ McCollum back in the CBS Sports Radio days? And we'll talk about it when he's back on Tiki and Tiki and Evan.
I don't know the answer to that. That I don't know.
That's interesting. That is very interesting.
Yeah.
I just feel like, the Knicks are gonna. It's just so silly. Like we should be up 2-0. I know they should be up 2-0, and it just should be cruising right now. I think the problem is they won game one, and they pulled away in the fourth quarter, and the game was tight until the fourth quarter, but they just pulled away, and that made everybody like kind of relax. The coverage was kind of just like, the Knicks did what they're supposed to do. Meanwhile, that game was a little tough, and it should have scared the Knicks a little more than I think it did. And it was almost like Mike Brown and the Knicks kind of took their foot off the gas in game two at parts. And you can't have like rest days in the playoffs. You got to go full throttle until the game is over. You cannot, unless you're up 20 in the fourth with a few minutes left, you have to
blowouts, yeah.
Yeah, you have to always put your foot on the gas. And I think this is a lesson to the Knicks, and I think getting kicked in the ass like this, I think is good. And as much as I dislike the Pistons and I like to laugh at them that they haven't won a playoff game at home since 2008, haven't won a playoff series since then either, I do think that this Magic loss in game one is the best thing for them to just be like, oh, we thought this was going to be easy, and it's not. And the Magic are giving it to them. I thought the Magic would get stomped out by the Pistons, I got to be honest, but when you look at it now, you're like, the Magic are kind of similar to the Pistons. They play tough, they play a little dirty, they get in your face, they're not afraid. But you know what? They're not as talented as the Pistons, so I don't think that they'll steal the series. But I think taking that first game was tough.
The weird part about Orlando, they're healthy.
Mets lost, by the way. Mets lost again.
They're healthy for the first time, really.
Yeah.
They got everybody back.
Right.
I think people, when they saw how they lost that game to the Sixers in the 7-8 seed game, were just like, they are going to get obliterated. But then they destroyed the Hornets.
Yeah.
And the Hornets were feeling good after their unbelievable. That game was just insane.
Everybody was crowning the Hornets for beating the Knicks in February, or March. It was
they were a hot team. It was. That was a good win for them. It was a good win.
Yeah, it was. It was just a little overreaction. That's all I'm saying. That's all. It was a little bit of a little bit of an overreaction.
Hold on. I think this is just. I think it's fair to say that the Knicks fans overreact to losses.
I'd say so. Yes.
I would say so. I don't know if that's just being uneducated. I don't know if that's just a lack of
I think
passion.
it's emotional. I think it's an emotional thing. I think it's also a performative thing as well. If you look at social media, especially on Twitter and certain people in spaces and things. But I also think that there's a lot of Knicks fans that don't realize what sustained winning teams are. You know what I mean? Because they haven't been sustained winning like this since the 90s.
Well, you're going to lose 20-something games. It doesn't mean you're bad.
Right.
It just happens.
You're going to lose some games. You're going to go through down streaks, and you're going to go through NBA Cup hangovers. You're going to have these moments that's going to fuck you up, and it is what it is. And I do think that there's some of that. People look at, and it's also social media as a whole. Everybody looks at things in a vacuum. This isn't football. Every game doesn't mean as much. But in the regular season, especially this era of the NBA, the regular season is just like one giant preseason for these top contending teams like the Knicks. But the point I'm trying to make is that the Knicks haven't had a sustained winning team since the 90s. And a lot of people were either too young to really understand what was going on in the 90s or weren't even alive that are adults.
I forget that too.
That are full-grown adults that, are maybe they were born in 97, born in 2000. You know what I mean? It's 2026, so...
Yeah.
They don't know how to handle success. And yes, success. I mean, they haven't won a championship. And that's the other thing about this era is that if you don't win a championship, you stink, which is so stupid. You could be a sustained winning team and not have a championship.
You're just not a champion. You're still good.
You're still a sustained winning organization. You know what I'm saying?
The Nets in the 2000s.
Exactly. A sustained winning organization like the Knicks of the 90s. Sustained winning organization. It is what it is. And, I think that when you lose game 2 in the way that you lost it, and you have a lot of people, and that game a lot of people who are rooting more for their opinions because they're so public and so loud about the faults of the Knicks and they should blow it up and this team is not enjoyable, et cetera, et cetera. And then they lose, you kind of, as it's human nature to be like, I was right. This team stinks. And it's like, bro, are you even a Knicks fan? You know what I mean? I'm not one to, you can have an opinion, but at the end of the day, you shouldn't be mocking other Knicks fans when you fucking lose a game in the playoffs. You should be upset. You shouldn't be happy that you were right. You should be mad that you were right. I don't know.
I just hope that the Hawks are better than y'all think. And they had a good comeback. They hung tight in game 1, and now they're going to game 3 with confidence, and that they come out there and they are not too big for the moment. Because I do believe you're going to see a very focused Knicks team that's going to Atlanta. They are going in with a very different attitude than they did in game 2. They're going to take it very seriously. It was a wake-up call. It definitely was to lose that game. I just hope that the Hawks go in with the mentality of we can beat them. We have to be physical. We have to be athletic. We have to get out and run. They have more talent. We have to do all of these things and go out and win the basketball game.
And honestly,
and give the joy to the fans of this podcast that hate the Knicks.
The Brooklyn Nets fans, give them the joy.
And to see the Knicks lose in the first round and get something that would be a taste. I had a text from somebody today.
You're doing a trailer, like a movie trailer.
I'll keep them nameless, but he said that loss to the Knicks last night. I woke up this morning and felt like I just had great sex the night before, and I was just like,
his initials ER, Mike.
No, no. Although I will say, I did get a text from him, and he said that if the Hawks, and I don't know if he means this, but it's out here now. If the Hawks win game 3 and 4. He said, you'll be joining me on Tuesday for game 5.
Man. Evan's so funny.
I don't know if he's serious or not, but he said, will you be there? I said, yes, sir, I will.
Nobody loves Knicks tears like you and Evan, man. I swear. It's amazing.
What?
It's incredible.
What?
And nobody loves Knicks tears like you and Evan. It's incredible. You guys are like 2 peas in a pod with that shit.
They're out there. Trust me, I'm telling you, I'm on some side texts. There are people that hate them.
But, back to your point about going on the road with the Knicks going into Atlanta. The Knicks in the Jalen Brunson era have played really well on the road in the playoffs. Almost, I feel, maybe I don't have the numbers to back this up, but in my mind, I feel like they played better on the road in the playoffs.
I remember every game, and I could tell you every game.
Every game? Okay, go ahead.
With JB?
Yeah, the Cavs series, they beat them in Cleveland a couple times.
Well, it was one. They split in games 1 and 2.
Boston twice also.
They split in games 1 and 2, so they were. Okay, so the Cleveland series, it was 1-1. They won both games in New York. It was 3-1. So they went 2-1 in Cleveland in the first year. But then they struggled in the Heat series. It was 1-1. They went 0-3 in Miami, or I think in the next year, because it was 1-1 at the Garden. Heat won game 1, Knicks won game 2. Jimmy Butler did not play in that second game. I remember all this shit.
This is
They
crazy.
won game.
You remember
They
more
won,
than me because you hate them that much.
yes, they won. Then won game 3 and 4. Came back to the Garden for game 5. Lost that. That game was on my birthday. I was hoping for that. Then they went back to game 6. Won game 6. There was a crazy ending. Heat won game 6.
What was the crazy ending? Remind me.
It was like the ball was loose. Julius Randle something. I don't remember. It was a weird final minute of game 6.
Okay.
Heat got that. So that's one. They were I think they were 0-3 that year. 2-1. So 2-1 and then 0-3. Then the next year, that was the year they had the Sixers in the first round. The Knicks won both at home. They lost game 3 in Philly, won game 4, came back to the Garden, lost. That was the Tyrese Maxey 30-foot 3 game.
Yeah.
Then went back to Philly. You were at game 6
that was
for
fun.
the win.
That was fun.
Okay.
Me and Buddha. Shout out to Buddha.
Then it was the next series. It was the Pacers. They won games 1 and 2 at home, lost games 3 and 4 in Indiana, came back to the Garden
This is
and
incredible,
won.
Mike.
But then they got really hurt. Remember, game 6 they lost by 50 to the Pacers. Then game 7 at MSG they were so beat up. OG Anunoby hit a couple threes to start the game, but was really hurt.
Right, it was over.
Brunson broke his wrist later in the game.
It was over. It was a wrap.
So they lost that game. Then last year would have been they lost game. This is where they started to play well on the road because they lost game 2 versus the Pistons. Schroeder hit some clutch shots at the end of game 2. They go to game 3 and 4. They win in Detroit. Crazy endings to that game. They were down big. And then Towns hit a huge shot. Knicks win game 3 and 4. They had the thing with the free throw that was knocked out of bounds, so they got an inbounds, and then they got lucky. Do you remember any of this? And you said there was a conspiracy with the refs and the scorekeeper. Then
when they start the clock with the
something,
and
then
we've actually found out that the clock keeper is actually an NBA employee and not the arena employee. Is that what you're talking about?
Whatever it was.
Then I was they were a little sketchy with that clock, and
whatever. They went 2-1 in the Celtics series. They won game 1 and 2, lost game 5 in Boston, which brought it back to New York, and game 6 was a blowout. Then in the Indiana series, they went 1 and 2 because they were down 0-2 when they lost 2 games at home. Went to Indy, actually won game 3. That was probably Towns' best game of that playoffs. Mm-hmm. Lost game 4, and then eventually would lose game 6.
That's pretty good.
Those are all good.
Well, in 2025 they were 6-3 on the road. In 2024 they were 2-4, and in 2023 they were 2-3. So the Towns Brunson combined Knicks team is 6-3 on the road in the playoffs, which is pretty good. Last year,
more than 3 losses. Those guys. Those year, two. That Towns, combination.
With Towns, yeah.
Are you sure it's 6-3?
It's 6-3.
This is the second year, right?
This is the second year. So they haven't played a road playoff game yet.
So you're saying they were 6-3 last year on the road?
On the road. So they beat Detroit in games 3 and 4, and then 5. They beat the Celtics 2 in Boston. That's
and then they were 1 and 2 versus
5,
the Pacers.
And then they beat the Pacers once in Indy. Then
and
that's
they lost
1, 2, 3. Yeah, 6-3. Yeah.
Right.
So,
but they are they're 1 and 2. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
That's incredible, man, that you just did that. That was just incredible that you were just able to remember all of that. I would remember that stuff as that happened at my age.
I could tell you
when I was 16, I'd be able to do shit like that. But now I'm I remember. Oh yeah, I have to look it up and remind myself. And that's what happened. That's what happened.
I could give you the Nets ones.
We don't want
they
everyone to
lost
fall asleep.
All 4 to the Sixers. They got swept. And they then
Durant's foot was on the line. The end. Yes.
Well, they beat the Celtics in 5.
And then he shot an air ball. Yeah. No, I get it.
They beat the Celtics in 5. They lost to the Bucks They won game 1 and 2 by a bajillion. Then that game 3 lost. I was pissed. I was so pissed in that Bucks game 3 loss, and that's when Kyrie got hurt. And I was like, that was the turning point. And Bruce Brown had the final shot of the game.
I think the most I cheered for a team to lose that wasn't had no Knicks related outcome, remember when Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo beat the Bucks in the playoffs, and we were doing this podcast live, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Bam, my guy, Bam!" And I thought like the Knicks were set up to make a run, and they ended up blowing it to the Heat anyway on their run to the finals that year. I was excited about the Heat winning because I thought it benefited the Knicks.
Got rid of the Bucks.
The only time I was actually excited about a team losing when it had no Knick-related result was when the Knicks lost to the Nets lost to the Celtics on that game winner in Game 1, and I hit the ceiling. My arms went up in the air.
It's a good feeling.
I was like, yeah! Like I was like this net. Like I hated that net team, man. Like I hated that run. It was.
It's a
fun.
good feeling.
Especially doing the podcast with you and doing all that shit. Whatever.
That was a rough game.
I want you to have happiness, but the Nets, the people, and the organization, like no.
You don't like that? There's nothing. Who do you not like in the organization?
I don't know. At the time, I wasn't happy at the time.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Now, whatever.
There's joy.
Yeah,
there's joy in it. It's fun. It's fun to see a group of people.
And that was the year the Knicks were out of the playoffs, right? That was the Fournier year and the Kemba Fournier.
They missed the playoffs that year.
Yeah. So
they missed.
I remember some things. See,
and the Nets were the 7 seed.
Yeah,
they beat the Cavs in the play-in to become.
They were like, "Oh, the regular season doesn't matter. We can get what any seed and get and make a run." Right? They were like that year.
Well, what I've learned is the regular season does matter. It's not the be-all end-all, but you have to give it a little. You have to take it a little seriously.
You got to get a top seed if you want to.
But that problem, that Nets team started the year with Harden, traded him. Mm-hmm. The worst part of that season was there was a game where Kyrie, Durant, and Harden played, and they played in Chicago. Yeah, and this was like it was COVID season, or it was the next COVID season, the vaccine season, and they barely played together. And there was just one game where they all three showed up to go into Chicago, and they beat the living fuck out of the Bulls.
And they weren't the Bulls of this year; they were a decent team.
And all the Net fans were just like,
"Holy shit,
the team! That is the team."
Yeah,
they need to do a documentary on that Nets team.
Oh my god, yeah, it has to be Knick related. There has to be a Knick thing in there.
The Knicks are part of the story, but it's not Knick related.
It's got to be a little
Knick
thing.
They're part of the story, but
it
it's
is.
not.
That's why it has to be.
No,
it has to be like them starting from when they moved to Brooklyn, and it's about that Durant year. It's about the Durant Kyrie era. But it's got to start from when they went from Jersey to Brooklyn. You don't have to hear about the Richard Jefferson years and Jason Kidd years.
No.
But just like they moved to Brooklyn because of this, Prokhorov and all that shit, and the Billboard and Jay-Z and all that stuff all together, and then them selling it and Josiah, you know what I mean? Just all that stuff put together, and then 2019 and everything going with that, and how it broke up. And there's so much there. There's so much there. So,
I think the storyline is, if I was producing it, right? I think in your head, it's like
you should. I've been saying this, Mike. You and Evan Roberts need to make this documentary. Just make it. Just write it.
Okay,
make it.
Okay,
and then pitch it to someone to fund it. And like Josiah, you have his email. Email him.
These things.
Call up ESPN. Get Bill Simmons, and away you go. I mean, he's not ESPN anymore, but you know what I mean. Just pitch it around.
No, you tell the story. Hey, this
Prime
is the
has been
story.
doing great, man, with these documentaries. I mean, call up, Bezos, got his email, jbezos@amazon.com, probably.
Yes. I mean, the story is, it's like we're going to sit down and talk about the biggest failure in the NBA history. Then you go back, you backtrack, you talk about New Jersey. You just do a couple minutes. They moved to Brooklyn.
Right.
Then everything that transpired with the Knicks stuff. The Nets get the 3. And then
people forget also, sorry, the Jersey thing. People forget also they moved out of the Continental Airlines or whatever, Izod. And went to Newark, and they were just kind of like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, let's get out of here. It's time, And they were tanking, and they were terrible for John Wall, and they'll get him, And so there's, there's a lot there.
And they get favors, and then they end up dealing
right after.
For D-Will.
Yeah.
Was it the Bulls? I got to see. Now I'm looking up this.
That crazy one bucket
was
game.
It the Bulls? There was the 3 of them played together, and I was just like, this team is awesome.
I don't know, but I think we're reaching the end of this.
Yeah,
podcast
I really want
at this point.
But Harden, maybe it was somebody else. I'll look it up on my own time. Do it now. All right, this has been Bad Weather Fans, episode 301.
Yep. What up?
We'll do it again next week. Hopefully, I'm going to Game 5. We'll see.
You're not, but hopefully that we can figure out this Riverside program by next episode. Know what we're doing.
No, we were good.
We were fine, but I mean, people listening to the podcast apps are fine, and Spotify and whatever. But trying to get this thing going, and we'll get back in rolling here.
All right.
We would have done one last week, but Mike got sick, so we couldn't do an episode last week.
Sick.
There's no Nets eulogy. Give me 10 seconds on the Nets season. Quick eulogy. 10 seconds. 15 seconds.
It's over. I got nothing. It's over.
Thank God it's over. We're out of here.
I just want the Knicks
Flush
to be
it.
done.
Be like Rex Ryan on a post game and bury the season. Not like burying the football.
I had these headphones backwards the whole time. That's why.
That's why I was low. I'm like,
it was
fine.
Just the sound quality was jacked up.
Everybody needed to know that. I'm glad that you told everybody.
I was so sick last week. It was like,
yeah, you were.
I was.
It's all good. It happens.
It does, and it sucked. All right, Bad Weather fans, I'm ending this, Alex.
Thank you.
301,
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week, and I'll be live from the garden, so we'll have some fun stuff to talk about.
See ya. Have a good one.